call is now being recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good evening to all of you in this beautiful evening ahead. On behalf of Modak Academy, this is me, Pritili Modak, your host for this beautiful evening. And I'm really delightful that you're giving your valuable time to this beautiful evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's given me immense pleasure to welcoming each one of you present here. Today's deliberation, Women in Panchayat Politics Aspiring to Dream Bigger, presented by Dr. Swati Bhattacharya. Dr. Bhattacharya is Assistant Professor, Rani Birla Girls College, Kolkata. She has completed her graduation from Jadavpur University and master degree from Presidency University. Dr. Bhattacharya also completed her PhD from Kolkata University. Without any further delay, with great respect and excitement, I welcome Dr. Bhattacharya to take the virtual stage. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the lovely introduction. I am Dr. Swati Bhattacharya, Assistant Professor, and I have worked in the area of women in politics, including my PhD. And what I have gathered from there, I take this topic forward. Um this topic I think is quite conversant with people in general, not necessarily people belonging from social science background, because those of us who are really associated with the concept of women who are participating in politics in India. And as we all know that this is a topic of huge debate, because the number of people or number of women who are in women in politics. Hello, am I audible? So, women in politics in general, and the ongoing dilemma in India with the numbers that are not very inspiring in general. So, this entire problem of bringing women to politics has been a long debate across the country, that why and what stops women from coming to politics, what has been the history of this country behind this problem, and the measures that has been taken by the government in order to encourage women to come and participate in the political arena. Now, why have I chosen or discussed panchayat in the beginning? As we all know that the basic unit of politics, or the lowest unit of politics, or the biggest unit of politics in the country is the panchayat, because 70% of the country lives in the villages and are covered by the panchayats. Only a few percentage are in the metro cities, and they are not covered by the panchayats but are covered by the municipalities. So, in order to break this chain of non-participation, some measures had been initiated by this country, like the reservation. And what was the reservation? What was the reason of reservation? That at one point of time, at least a bare minimum of 0.8% women used to come to the political positions of panchayats or the elected representatives. And the politics was treated as a public sphere, and the women were always situated in the domestic or the private sphere, or the household to be precise. And they were restricted from coming out and participating in politics, and those who used to come out and participate in the politics were stigmatized with their characters, and they were not encouraged, and they had to carry the burden of uh, public and domestic responsibilities together. So they were stopped. Now, when this reservation was introduced in India, this was a landslide change in the demography of political participation. And this was basically a symbolic and very powerful move to make the gender inclusive political participation a reality. And women in the system were not driven by their individual accomplishments, but rather they were driven by the family pressure. Now, gender equality was not only a distant dream, but almost an impossible thought when it came to Indian villages. The questions were asked like, why do we need women in politics? But the root cause was not only that women and gender inclusive governance was a necessity, but the reason was that even women being absent from policy making positions made the Indian policy system also an entirely a male driven uh, reality, which translated that the women's sensibilities and requirements were categorically absent. But if I focus thoroughly on panchayats, then what changed was that it was analyzed and debated in the parliament that it is very critical and crucial that we elect more women and make them understand that politics is only not only a male squad, and stronger democracies require to address the historical injustices. So until and unless you address the historical injustice, you cannot uh, imagine having a stronger democracy. And so this led to the 1992 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments, which made one-third of the seats being reserved in the panchayat and the municipalities only for women, and 33% of the seats were reserved, which later became 50% in many of the states. And also, this measure not only included the women, but they were extended to the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. But now comes the difficult part that there was another amendment which was discussed in the House, which was the 106th constitutional amendment, which asked for a reservation in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. And this reservation is still not a reality. So, what do we see as a result? The result is that in 1984, only 8.1% women was in Lok Sabha. In 1989, 5.2%. So it dropped. In 1991, it further became 7%. In 1996, 7.3%. 98, 7.9%. 1999, 9%. 2004, 8.2%. 2009, 10.6%. 2014, 11.42%, 2019, 14%, and 2024, 13%. So the reservation happened in 1992. Before reservation in Lok Sabha, it was 8%. After reservation, it became 7%. So the women who became the mass politics, part and parcel of the mass politics, where somewhere it is a reality were restricted to only the villages. So the question arises that the if we are only contributing to the quantitative sum building of women, or there is a qualitative change that is happening, because if there is a qualitative change, then these women who are now today the panchayat post holders will further dream to become the part of the national politics. But today's reality is that the mass politics that is happening in the national level is somewhere not uh, open to these women who are the lying there in the villages and holding the posts today. So therefrom arises the second question, which is a very common term in Indian politics, the question of tokenism. That is, generally is sending some of the women in his house to go and fill the seat because the seat is reserved. So this, there are a number of studies I would like to mention. One by Naila Kabir, some, then there is Kaisar, then there are Madhu Kishwar and Yashodhara Bagchi, who had studied extensively this problem. And in 1974, there was a report called the Towards Equality Report, which led to this constitutional amendment in 1992, which had shown that women are absent from the policy making positions, political positions, and so on and so forth. So, somewhere the reservation today in 2025, if we discuss, is probably an attempt to fill in the numerical gap that was created due to the absence of women. But merely filling up the numerical gap does not materialize to some qualitative actual change that can be feasible by involving more women in today's politics. Now, the question of aspiration of these women comes when we discuss that why are we taking aspiration or dream of these women into account? Um in the onset, I would like to discuss. There is a very interesting book which is titled which is written by a Bengali author, Vishakha Dotto, who had traveled extensively to the villages of India to study the condition of women. The book is titled "And Who Will Make the Chapatis," which translates into that why was the book titled that way? The book was titled because when she had gone to survey in the villages of Bangalore, and Maharashtra, some rural women were not seen in their offices, but they were seen in the uh, house, and their office seats were filled up by the male representatives. Now, when she had gone to the house, she had asked that where is the elected representative who she was looking for. And the husband replied that if she goes to office, then who will make the chapatis? So that is why he is filling in for her in the office, and she is being restricted to the domestic. So when this survey again asks that if the woman actually aspires to dream bigger and participate further in the larger sphere of social or political areas, then she said that then who will take care of the domestic responsibilities? So it is not only her work, but in the other work, the main and the primary connection to obstacle of women being coming to the national politics comes from the mere fact that women are not um, used to traveling outside their houses or sharing their domestic responsibilities with their male counterparts, which is not allowing them to come out of the village squad and come to the setting of um, this public. So this private and public divide becomes very apparent and very on the face when we come to the village politics, because village square not only takes into consideration your personal domestic responsibility, but it also takes into consideration the second factor that is stopping them from dreaming bigger, that is the societal pressure. The societal pressure is so acute that women holding public offices often makes them a public figure. And this uh, association of the women in the house to the public and interaction on a daily basis often becomes the biggest hindrance. So what happens is their male counterparts fill in for them in the office positions, and they restrict them to stay where they are because that will make the position also easier for the men to control. And therein comes the societal barrier, that is a control issue. And as we all know that the panchayat position holders in today's world is their paid government job. In West Bengal, it is around 5 to 8,000, which is a salaried government position. So now this economic um, independence is also. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Voice is not coming. Please, you speak loudly.
Hello? I have maximized my volume. Now, am I audible?
Actually, I can't hear your voice. Please, you speak loudly.
No, now it is
Is it
okay.
now it is okay?
Less sound.
Okay, ma'am,
I have maximized. Am I now
continue.
audible?
Yes, yes. Continue now.
Okay. So, what I was talking about is that the thought comes the social encounter with the problematization of knowing their domestic women in a social sphere or a political sphere. It is often given as an example in these research papers that men had a problem with knowing as their husbands, because when you become an elected representative, then your association to the societal circle becomes not only somebody's wife or daughter, but she is an elected panchayat representative. And the husbands are called in as the husband of the pradhan. That becomes an ego issue, and that is why what in circles that are very common in these villages are often called as the wife of this person is a panchayat elected representative, but you have to talk to the husband. He will communicate it to the wife. So direct interaction is also a problem in the village circles. So what happens is that the women stay at homes, but the men fill in, and they do not allow the women to know that what is happening in the offices. But again, I'm not saying that this is for 100%. I'm talking about the problems part first. Then I will come to the success also. The third problem is illiteracy. Illiteracy is among the village women in the 90s has been so acute that often they were called in Rajasthan as Tippa Chhap Pradhan. But a male counterpart not being educated was not a taboo. But it was often been said that what will a Tippa Chhap Pradhan do, or say that you are saying that she will become a Pradhan. But this, sorry, study was in Rajasthan. Now, Rajasthan has a more interesting history than probably the rest of the country, because Stories from there has become a part of the study of the panchayats because even in 90s there was a custom in some villages where the custom was called the doodh pilau function. Now, what is the doodh pilau function? Doodh pilau function was when a woman or a girl child was born, she was husked in milk and drowned in milk so that she dies automatically, and women would sing songs so that she is not born. So the journey in Rajasthan is not women in Pradhan in panchayat politics to national level politics. So there is a first journey of survival, then coming to living as a woman, then coming to politics as a woman. So three steps to cross. Now, here in the study, what we have seen is that in in why was the reservation initiated primarily in Punjab? Because if you are in panchayat politics, then you are holding a position in your known circle before going to the unknown circle. And you are associating yourself around the biggest hurdle was to make them aware of their rights because they are all the places they are trying to fill in for their male counterparts because they're trying to fill in for the male counterparts because the male counterparts in these villages are all pradhans from the previous term, but they are giving their seats to the female counterparts because the seat has got reserved. So it is not only 19% of the women out of a study group of 1,000 were actually voluntary participants. The rest were forced participants. So when I am bringing in the topic of are they dreaming bigger, their dream in the initial phase was not to become Pradhan. Their dream was to uh, lie somewhere domestically, but the reservation has brought them to office. Now, uh, the leap or from panchayats to, if I say that somebody has made it to Lok Sabha, the percentage is not even 1%. Today, we talk about women leaders. If we're talking in India, then we talk about Mayawati, we talk about Mamata Banerjee, we talk about Jayalalitha. Now, this background of these women, if you see, none of them are coming from village politics. All of them are born in a metropolitan city. And they have their own struggle. I'm not saying that they have come and become chief ministers or Indira Gandhi has become a prime minister by fluke. But the thing is that their journey is not from panchayat to state to national. No, they are somewhere directly situating themselves there from their backgrounds, which can be not so pleasant. Some are elite backgrounds, some are not. But the point is that the initiative of the panchayat and the reservation was to make the women come to politics and become self-sufficient and policymakers in their own right. But what is happening is they are restricting themselves to the panchayat level, and because the reservation is a rotational system, so many women who are now coming and serving a term of say 5 years, after 5 years, the moment the seat is getting de-reserved, they are not getting a chance to contest again. So in their head, they know that I am in this post for 5 years. So after 5 years, I will go back to my home and not come out again and do something for the society. So this is the biggest barrier that is acting against their aspiration, even if they're starting to like the post of, say, Pradhan, or somewhere in the Zilla Parishad, or somewhere interacting in the higher authority. So this is one of the reasons. Thirdly, if I come to see that why do we need women in the policy making positions? There is a there was a case which has come out in the newspapers also. The case of one panchayat women in Sundarban has built a all women panchayat. Why? Because the connectivity from that block to the main road was absent. So these women had not been able to send their children to school for many years because in the monsoons, these places would drown and the schools will remain closed. So these women had stopped relying on the government to give them funds. So they had built the panchayat and they had brought all the bricks and the requirements that is needed to build a road. And or these women started building a road on their own. And they had built it from their home to the school without relying on the laborers or the government or the contractors. So when you have women in the position, these women are also building their policies customized to think about their own requirements, which is very domestic and your day-to-day needs, because they wanted a better life for themselves and they treated the panchayats as a tool of social reform. Now, this is what the study is all about. That suppose these women who are interacting with the policy and the lowest governance, if they are going up and climbing the state level and the national level, then they will not change their own psychology and the policy making in the national level and the state level as well. They will make the policies more social centric, which is a biggest requirement that we see in today's world. But it will be wrong to say that only in India is the only country which is suffering from lack of women representation. Uh, if it's because I am a student of political science, I have this issue has come up from 1850s. If I may refer to John Stuart Mill, his book on subjection of women, I think here, sorry, there he has very clearly mentioned that women are born with a natural flair to administer and direct. If you look that the Britain had a queen, and even Hindu women, they had the national flair to run kingdom. But it is only the society which has made the women restrict themselves to the domestic and made the women conscious that they are not capable of holding a public office. But the women has never the time from when they have started to revolt, it was too late. And the society was already one-siding themselves with the mental bent that the men are for the public and politics and women are for the domestic. Now, on the last leg of this discussion, that actually the concept was not to increase the statistics, but with reservation, the real motive was to bring in empowerment. Now, the definition of empowerment in social science varies from place to place. In some place, we are only seeing it from an economic perspective, which is the most common thing. This particular reservation has actually introduced an economic independence in women. And when they are traveling or starting to dream, then they are also dreaming for their own economic independence or economic betterment. But this betterment is getting restricted due to social restrictions. Now, if my achievements or dreams are getting restricted by a social force, then automatically I can say that I am not empowered or my empowerment is not a complete empowerment. Now, when I am becoming self sufficient in my own right economically, at the same time, I am able to participate in decision making on my own, then only I can say that there is some amount of empowerment which is happening in the true sense of the term. Now, that is why in one of the definitions, Kathleen Roosevelt Moss, who is a very big feminist, has said that do not get into the debates of empowerment. Empowerment is only there when your mind is free from any external influence. That is, the liberty or the freedom to place myself in wherever I want to see in the longest run of my life. If I can reach that without any interruption or any social hindrance, I can call myself empowered. Before that, I am just there as being controlled by somebody else. Now, if I am talking about empowerment in general, then the question of this dream and dreaming is also coming into a question of that if at all this process of inclusivity is at all creating any difference in the society or not. Now that will be only clear if you are checking the statistics. So if we take 50% of women in 34 states participating in politics, then definitely in 2024, out of 583 seats, only 13% seats won't be for women. It should automatically go up to at least a bare minimum of, say, 25%. But are we seeing ourselves there? So the statistics has actually dropped from 2014 to 2024. So we are not going up, we are going down because in 2014, the highest was recorded as 14.6%. So we have dropped from 14 to 13%. And when it had reached 14%, India had celebrated for sending the maximum number of women as MPs. Now, is that what celebration or not is a question. Thirdly, the understanding of gender representation. Now, as we know that Indian democracy, the standing committees or the policy making in the Lok Sabha, the MPs constitute that committees, the steering committees. Now, when you don't have women MP, then naturally you won't have many women sitting in the policy making positions either. That is why Indian policies are always male driven and gendered inclusivity and gender sensitivity remains absent. So what happens is government nominates women to this post in order to make it look like a gendered representation. So in 2025 also you are not somewhere where you see the decision making or the steering committees to be in a position to restrict themselves or see themselves there. Right. So that is one thing. Second is in the states there are some which states have a 50% quota. Bihar, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh. And in these states, the representation has risen voluntarily to 50% from a mere 33%. So this entire concept has been divided is or termed as there are two parts. One is top-down empowerment, another is bottom-up measure. What is top-down? That is from the development is at the top and the effect is coming down and reaching the masses. But this reservation is a bottom-up approach. That is, we are empowering at the bottom, but why are we empowering at the bottom? That this reaches to the top. But now, when we are looking at the reality check after 15 years of the process, then what are we seeing? That there is neither top down nor bottom up. But what are we seeing? There is a change in the statistics because the numbers have increased thoroughly in the panchayats. Now, to the entire the discussion might sound like it's a totally negative way of looking at reservation. But to balance it out, of course, there is a good side and pros and cons there in every measure. What are the pros? The pros are that some women, when we are taking case studies, we are seeing that women are actually feeling empowered because the condition that was present that women holding offices were an impossible dream in many states and many villages. But due to Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan as well, now that women are also educating themselves, and also in some states, including West Bengal, due to scholarships and midday meals, there is an encouragement towards the primary and basic education. The moment these women are getting educated, they are making themselves aware of the prospects of a public life. And also, in many states, the statistics, if the state-based statistics of representation in Vidhan Sabha is are we seeing, then that has also gone up considerably. So the numbers are rising and women are making themselves seen in the politics. That is starting to encourage women to come to public life. And these women are treating panchayat seats and reservation as a pedestal to start their dream. So maybe they are not able to climb themselves from panchayat to Lok Sabha directly, but women are coming and settling themselves in panchayats with a dream and seeing others that yes, there is a chance that we can come in the public life and make ourselves visible in the panchayats. Excuse me. So their dream of coming to politics is becoming a success. But their dream of traveling from Panchayat to Lok Sabha is somewhere yet distant. That is what I'm trying to say. Now, I have spoken for 40 minutes and this might sound like a monologue, so I would like you to come and say or join, or if you have any questions, or if you want me to direct this in a particular way, then please.
Madam, you please carry forward. Because of some technical hitch, I am unable to put on my camera. So,
Okay,
you please carry forward. And if there is any question, we'll take at the end.
okay. So now we coming to the next leg of the conversation that I wanted to conclude with is that outcomes of the measure that it has a different effect on women in politics. It has worked differently in different states. The positives include that yes, women has empowered themselves and their public involvement has increased. They're and strengthening their opposition to patriarchal structures and communities. However, the male family and society still enforce informal rules, as I said, And according to the UN Women and the Ministry of Panchayat Raj, public education and competency and gender awareness programs are still not enough to raise the awareness and of the prospects that are there that can go and they can, think that they are a positive input. Now, one of the biggest thing that has worked is there is a political cohesiveness. What is political cohesiveness? That women, when you are see, when you are not there in public life for over 100 years, that's a struggle. Then what happens is that there is, of course, a societal barrier that is stopping the women from coming to public life. Right. Now, this political barrier has acted for years, and this has been the strength and vein of every Indian household almost. So, the women were restricting themselves to be seen in public in the beginning. Now, because of the reservation, since many women has come, so what is happening is that there is a sense of commentary and also, there is a political cohesiveness that if I'm coming to the office and I'm the only woman, then naturally in villages, the women are also not feeling out of place. But due to reservation that many women has come, there is a sense of another person coming and joining the society, the group, and so you are not feeling left out, or you are not feeling that you are the only one who has come. So this is one thing. Second is that the United Nations and the central government Ministry of Women and Child Welfare or the state government also initiates many policies that reach the women in the villages. Now, due to lack of awareness, these policies are not sent out on a day-to-day basis or on a it's not spread that way. But because women benefit from it, so the women take a larger initiative to spread these initiatives in a more effective way. And they also want to go and spread the message as much as possible. Thirdly, when a woman representative is present in the office, then the cases of women-centric problems in the villages, suppose domestic violence, or there is a case of some abuse, then women, like in Mahila courts, are built up by the government so that women are comfortable coming and stating themselves that this is my problem and I cannot share it with a male counterpart. So they are feeling more confident to come and share it with the women counterparts. Then there are some other problems which were persistent. One was street lighting. It was seen in the surveys that the villages that has women panchayat holders have better societal security than the places that has male panchayat leaders. That is also because what I feel I have a problem, I can relate and communicate it better than what others would do. So that becomes a bigger reason that women can go out and share their problems in general with the other panchayat members. Now, when Crenshaw developed this concept of intersectionality, he described that how the race, gender, class, religion can affect treatment. It is essential that the women that India is not only having one problem of women representation. There is an intersectional problem that even within women there is a caste problem, there is a religion problem, and there are Dalit women who are not only in the society facing the problem or the stigma of being just woman, but they are also facing the problem simultaneously of being Dalit and women. So when reservation is targeting, these marginalized groups are coming out and having a voice of their own. But it is very interesting that what I started with, that only 1% women transcended from panchayats to the Lok Sabhas. It is very interesting that even there, the majority women are Dalit women because they have fought the social stigma of being left out as women They have fought the social stigma of being left out for being Dalits, and now together they are able to address it and come out in the political sphere who are uh, trying to have the problem of both. Now, when there are certain empowerment paradigms, there are agency, outcomes, and process. What is the agency? The agency is that what are the mediums by which I can address a problem? Then there is a outcome and there are resources. So management of resource and management of outcome can only be possible if there is a proper agency through which I am addressing the problem. So this education, social capital, autonomy, decision making, authority, policy influence, and leadership all together makes the political empowerment a possibility. And also, now the women that were having the travel opportunities are also using it to their strides because in often we see that in panchayats there are many training programs by the government for the women panchayat leaders. Many women are fearful of coming to the office because they think that they don't know the work. Now, if there is a workshop, then they know the work. Now, when they're knowing the work, then what is happening is they're coming with their to raise their awareness levels, and they're conversing with the ones who are coming to make them aware, and they are acting as the inspiration as well. And now, when you're conversant with your work in office, then naturally you are thinking that I can learn and make it bigger. One of my survey points was that how technically women are aware in today's panchayats, and it is very interesting that almost 70% of women have learned computers. Now, this knowledge of computers is not a technical knowledge. The knowledge of computer is also the knowledge of the world. And it is quite strange that even Turkey, which is considered as one of the business capital in today, is lying behind India in terms of women coming out and holding public offices. So it is what I would like to conclude with is that it is a composite journey. The women who are coming to panchayats as elected leaders are also the women who are constituting India. Now, with reservation, what has happened is there is a dream to bring in change, a change in figures, in numbers of the total composition of women in politics. This was initiated by 1974 Towards Equality Report by Jashodhara Bagchi. Now, when there was a change in the total statistics of numbers, then there was a dream that these women will change the society. There will be a change in the political sphere. There will be a change in the number, and these numbers will also go and change the further larger democratic circle of India. And India has a 50-50 population of men and women. Why will the 50% population be left out? Now, this has been done in the panchayats with the help of 50% reservation. So now the statistics that is standing in the panchayats in terms of political participation is a very good 50-50 population. But what has happened is that when we are looking at the larger politics, then the statistics is falling to a 14%, 13%. So there is a gap. And this gap there are two ways of looking at it. That are the women stopping themselves to participating in further politics after panchayats? Or are the women quite traveling and starting to dream that they can participate in the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha and go there as elected members and participate in the national politics? Now, this bridge is somewhere closed because the women are not conversing themselves with the larger politics. So now the question remains that why? Now, when we are trying to address this question with surveys, reports, research, what we are finding is that women are coming and participating in the politics is fine. There are three problems. One, the male representatives are sending their house women as tokens because the seat is reserved. These women are not even holding the offices. They are somewhere restricting themselves to their houses, and the male are filling in their shoes. So that is a false representation or token representation or uh, a representation that can be called like a misled representation. Second is the women are trying to then make themselves a part of the politics, but the society and education is acting against them. They are being termed as illiterate in general. And thirdly, the society is tabooing it that if you are in politics, then you are a bad woman. Or if you are in politics, you are interacting with so many men that your social standing is getting in a false position. And also, one of the most important barrier becomes their caste and religion. A section of Muslim women are not allowed to hold public offices because it was thought that it will expose them in public. But that has crossed a lot. But the percentage has become very meager. Thirdly, the problem with aspiring to cross the threshold and go outside. Why? Because when you are in panchayat, you're acting near your 5 kilometers of house. But when you are in state politics or national politics, then you are kilometers away from your home. So if you are ready to come out and take the pressure or the burden of country or state, if you are ready to come out and cross that threshold and become a part of the larger politics, that much empowerment has reached these women or not? So these three questions have restricted the general idea of women who are wanting to come to politics are being restricted somewhere by the social pressure and political pressure. Now the biggest question comes the support of the political parties. In political parties, the male candidates often discourage their women counterparts, women political core members, and try not to lose the seats to them. Because, firstly, in order to become a candidate, outside the party, there is a societal politics. Inside the party, there is a party politics. So these women who are coming are often someone's wife or daughter who are coming to politics because their male counterparts has been a part of their political party. And the biggest example has been Indira Gandhi. So if the men are ready to lose the seat to the women counterpart or not is a bigger question. Now, the panchayat women are also facing the same problem, but it is not with the political party because the political party is ready to give the ticket because the seat has been reserved. It has no choice but to give the ticket to the women who are coming and trying to become the member or the candidate. But when it comes to national politics, because there is no reservation, the male counterparts are often restricting themselves from giving the chance to the female counterparts. And that has also become a very big reason that women are firstly fighting the social barrier, second, the economic barrier, and third, the political party barrier. So, the encouragement of the women counterparts now, for example, at present, West Bengal has the highest number of MLAs who are women in the Vidhan Sabha. Now, The current studies are locating that a women chief patron of the party is probably acting as an encouragement to the other women who are coming and trying to become a part of this political sphere. But the states which have male party command, often they are not ready to give the female so much of encouragement. That is also one of the reasons that can be delved into. Now, compositely, these male and the female counterparts are not, the conclusively can be said that they are not treated or seen as together as a unit. Somewhere discrimination is still at a very, uh, biggest point that it can be uh, covered so easily with a reservation measure at the bottom level. So the top-down approach has not been experimented in India, but the bottom-up approach has been experimented, which has yielded results and which has seen a huge constructive change in a quantitative level, at least in the village levels. But what we are seeing in the national level is still a dream that has to be yet to be achieved. And the women who are dreaming to come to politics and become a part of the national politics or leave a mark in the central Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, they are still somewhere lagging behind in the rat race that is being seen in the India. Thank you so much.